Let's get to some high school football. Like we said last year, we have a commitment to high school football in this program. So we will go through our TNL top 10 for week 2. We'll put them all on here on the sheet for you guys. So first and foremost, I thought week 1 was great. There was a lot of standout performances. Reagan destroyed Brennan, which was a little bit of a surprise to me.
Yeah.
Just because Brennan is another year older, and Caden Glass I thought would come out and be a much more mature quarterback. He had his struggles. He had a couple of touchdowns, or he had a touchdown last week as well. But Reagan is just one of those teams where it's just like, just put him in the playoffs
Reload,
already.
yeah.
Just put him in the playoffs again. You know, it's just they're just one of those guys. I was also not stunned. I was also taken aback by how explosive Steele is. 4 Division I commits on that offense. between Royal Capel, Jonathan Hatton, Chad Warner, and Jalen Cooper. Is that his name? Yeah, Jalen Cooper. I mean, Jalen Cooper had 3 touchdowns in the first half. They're our first team in our TNL top 10. They are just put them in the playoffs too. They're freaking ridiculous. Any immediate takeaways from week 1, guys?
Yeah, I mean, the game we did, right? How big, strong, and physical both Brandeis and O'Connor is. I mean, if those teams have to play like that with that kind of competitiveness every single week, are they going to have anybody left by week 5, right? I mean, it was astonishing how hard those teams went at each other in that ball game. And, you know, what a rivalry does to, you know, physicality and scheming, and very, very proud of both of those teams, the way they came out and played in week 1.
There's just so much more talent in San Antonio than I can ever remember. The Jordan Clay kid at Madison is going to have to he's
going to have to overcome some quarterback issues.
He's still young. Michael Terry, from what I understand, could commit to Texas as early as this week or next week. And I think we've got Alamo Heights a little low on our poll, by the way. I think they're really, really good.
Chuck and I said that last week too. We got to have a talk with Carlos.
Yeah, they're low.
They're the 5th ranked team in 5A. Yet they're what, 5th on our TNL top 10 poll? Like
they need to be ranked higher. But he's really good too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, we have a tough poll, man.
We do have a tough poll. We have
it's like the Ring of Honor and the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Hey, Jimmy finally made it. So
it's hard to get in.
That's true. All right, let's get to the TNL top 10. So Steele's number 1. Jalen Cooper had 3 touchdowns in the first half. Jalen Cooper committing to SMU, thank you. Chad Warner to UTEP. Jonathan Hatton to Oklahoma. And Royal Capel to
Oklahoma
State?
Yes.
Oklahoma State.
Yes.
So like I said, 4 D1 commits. I don't know about anyone on their offensive line if they're committed right now. I'm sure they are, because Steele is just a powerhouse. They have a huge right tackle. I think he's a freshman or sophomore who's just
they already have a couple of guys that are committed to the NFL.
Yeah, honestly. So I mean, Steele is just
skip a step.
They're just a house, man. And then Reagan is the second team in our TNL top 10 poll. And thank you to David Sines and Lyndon Hamilton for signing up for 48 minutes against each other this Saturday, because we have the top 2 teams in our TNL top 10 poll going head-to-head in Comalander on Saturday at 7 o'clock. And I'll be at UTSA Texas State, so I won't get to watch it, but I will be sure to watch all of the highlights that Jack gets, because that's going to be a banger on Saturday. Number 3 is Piper. Piper, once again, shows their mettle. They beat Bernie last week, 38-36. I was questioning their quarterback. They lost Jake South last year, or coming into this year, and he was our player of the year last year. So I was questioning, okay, how are they going to replace him? Caden Keith had 310 yards and 4 touchdowns. So Piper, once again, showing why they are one of the top teams in 5A. Smithson Valley, what else can you say?
Always.
Right.
What else
write
can you
them
say?
in, pencil it in.
Yep, so they beat Roosevelt 45-0. They play Brennan this Friday. That's another banger of a showdown, because Brennan, even though they didn't have their best game last week, you know that Bazer's going to have his guys ready for that one. Alamo Heights, like we said, was a little bit low. They're at 5. They're 1-0. They defeated Seguin 47-19. If I remember correctly, they won last year 51-48. So it shows you the difference a year can make for these two teams. And Alamo Heights might have found their second in command to Michael Terry because they had a guy named DK Garza who had runs of 50 and 36 against Seguin.
Wow. They got a tight end too who's just 6'7", 240.
Yeah.
Legit recruit.
The really good. Ron Riddiman always has his guys ready. Number 6 is Johnson. They had a heck of a ball game against Judson last week. came back from, I think they were down pretty much the entire games, 21-19. They ended up scoring late. Lauren Bubba Johnson, we might not have Ty Hawkins anymore, but they still have Lauren Bubba Johnson there, and he is one of the best running backs in our area for sure.
For sure.
So they might have more of a, instead of airing it out, more of a ground and pound offense this year, but just put Lauren in there and let him go. They play Piper this week, so another good matchup, our TNL top 10 matchup for us. We got some freaking bangers all over the area this week. They play Piper Friday 7:30 at Warrior Coliseum. Judson falls. I think they were 4 last week. They fall to 7 this week because of that loss to Judson. They play Hutto 7:30 on Friday. They beat Hutto last year 29.
The Hutto mascot?
I don't know.
It's one of the best.
Pizza Huttos.
The Hutto Pizza.
The Hutto Hippos.
The hungry hippo.
Everyone has a role on this podcast. That's what Don's is just knowing obscure mascots. New Braunfels was really impressive. They defeated Madison 48-zip under a new head coach. Obviously, you never know what to expect, but 48-zip, what else can you say about New Braunfels?
Yeah,
Another great
machine
mascot.
program. Yep.
Obviously, no rebuilding for them. They're playing Canyon this week. That's going to be a rivalry game for them. They're at Canyon, 7 p.m. on Friday. Brandeis, we talked about a little bit. What did it show from Brandeis? They jump into the top 10 at number 9. They defeated O'Connor 27-20. They came back from 17-0. O'Connor looked like they were just pulling out all the stops, but then they kept, as Coach Molesky said at halftime, they just kept shooting themselves in the foot.
Special
the entire
teams
game.
helped them get that lead. They just couldn't hang on.
Yeah, the quarterback made some ill-advised decisions in the second half that really sunk them. But I was kind of impressed by how Brandeis kind of took all the punches and then started punching back in the second half.
Yeah.
No doubt. I mean, they got a lot of chunk yards with that great running back that they have, and a lot of that was just dive play left, dive play right, and he did the rest.
Yep. So they play Sotomayor at 7 p.m. on Thursday at Ferris. That'll be a good game as well. And then Southwest defeated Harlandale 35-10. They play Lockhart 7:30 on Friday down at Dragon Stadium. The Dragons have split the games between Lockhart the last 2 seasons, including last year's 41-35 home victory.
One of the great atmospheres in San Antonio, the Dragon Bowl.
Absolutely.
Always love going down there.
Let's get to our TNL matchup of the week. We got Burbank and Veterans Memorial this week. Burbank is 0-1. I went and shot this game on Saturday. They lost 63-34. It might be the fastest I've gone in and out of a stadium. It was. I will tell you right now, because for those who don't know, we go get 3 or 4 plays, ones that we can air for highlights, and then we get out of there typically. This game started like this. Opening kickoff by Burbank was an onside kick that they recovered. First play from scrimmage, Kevin Hernandez throws a pass to the flat, but it ended up being a lateral, fumbled, run back the other way by Lavernia for a touchdown. So Lavernia starts out 7-0, even though they didn't start with the ball. Next drive down the field, Kevin Hernandez throws a wide open touchdown to Izzy Zapata, and then fumbles, or I think it was a defensive touchdown for Lavernia the other way the next possession after that. I was like, all right, see ya. It was really entertaining, but
Very high scoring.
yeah, it was high scoring for sure.
Yeah, they
I think
scored all those points with 4 turnovers in that football game. I mean, they're going to be fun to watch on Thursday night.
Yeah, and then at halftime of that game, I think it was 49-24. Like it was just a shootout.
How good is Lavernia?
Lavernia is
Yeah,
really
they're good. They're up there. I think they're number 2 in our sub TNL poll.
They are. And if you look at this game coming in off a short week, obviously Burbank played on Saturday, Veterans Memorial played on Friday, but Burbank really condensed week, especially with Labor Day sandwiched in the middle coming into this Thursday night game. Does that affect them at all coming into this game, guys?
I don't think so. I mean, it's early in the season. You got only one tape on the other team. I'm sure they practiced on Labor Day. I'm sure
They did, yeah.
Yeah.
Veterans Memorial always has a stout rushing attack. We're going to see the post-James Peoples era Veterans Memorial team, but
James Peoples touchdown for Ohio State
Yep.
on his very first carry as a true freshman.
attaboy.
Pretty cool.
Defense is going to need to be tough up front, but let's hear from Coach Mole here from Burbank.
Well, when you schedule good teams, you do it on purpose. It exposed our weaknesses, and it's allowing us, we have a saying here, failure equals growth. This is an opportunity for us to grow, and they expose the things that we need to fix as a coaching staff and then as a team.
This offense has got a lot of, for lack of a better term, media hype around it. I mean, with him calling the signals back there, how do you guys keep these guys it's like, look, you're good, but if you don't put in the work, it's not going to show up on the field?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to tell you, man, we have 6 captains, and all of them have earned it. And there's guys that could even be more deserving than just 6 that can be captains. They hold themselves accountable. They want to be good. It makes it a lot easier when you have kids that are focused just as much as the coaches.
How do you go ahead and coach against this team that obviously isn't on television a whole lot this week? You get to showcase your talents for all of San Antonio to see what Burbank is all about this year. How do you tell them it was like, look, we still got a job to do and don't worry about the television?
Yeah, I mean, I really haven't even talked about it. I don't even think about it. You showed up here and we're like, okay, we're going to be on television.
Veterans Memorial, they're also coming off a loss. So you got 2 teams that are going to be really, really hungry to showcase that it was like week 1 was a little bit of a fluke. How do you go ahead and coach against them, and what are some of the keys to victory that you guys need to be able to do?
Well, one thing that we need to improve on from next week, and football's football, doesn't matter which team you go up against, we've got to win the physical point of attack game, whether it's on defense or whether it's on offense. Last week, you go back to the film and we lost. We weren't the more physical team. We're physical at moments, but they were more physical at more moments. And we've got to be the team that wins more physical moments than Veterans Memorial.
Burbank hasn't won a district title since 1978. They finally don't have Alamo Heights in their district. This game is more, I don't know if it's more important, but this game is as important as a game can be to get your season started on the right track before you go into district play. You get things clicking on all cylinders for Burbank, especially if you want to win your first conference title in the last 46 years.
Yeah, they've kind of got a new culture built over there. Big turnout, a lot of kids in the program, and football's a popular, cool thing to do now over at Burbank. And I think he's trying to change the culture and establish a winning culture. And I think they've got the legitimate chance to be good with that kind of numbers participating.
Yep.
Well, everybody in their league is talking about their quarterback, right? And
Kevin
how
Hernandez,
electric he
man.
is. And, he had a really good game this first game out. And I don't know, it was the Zapata kid was, to me, the one that popped.
Izzy's
to
phenomenal,
have that
man.
kind of game. I mean, almost 300 yards receiving and 3 scores against Lavernia. I mean, I'm really, really looking forward to what we see on Thursday night.
As far as Veterans Memorial goes, they're 0-1. They lost to Davenport 32-15. So both these teams coming in 0-1 on this TNL. What can we, for people who don't know, Bobby Irvin, he's been over there for a while. What can you expect from a Bobby Irvin coach team?
Well, they're really multiple offensively. We always thought we were going to see James Peoples run wild. Of course, he was always hurt when we had him on TNL.
Seemed like it.
Sad.
But they were able to throw the football too, and they've got athletes.
They got athletes. Yep, their D-line was really stout when we saw them. I mean, one of those teams that looked very complete, and I would assume that's what we're going to see on Thursday night.
Yeah, they had a DB that was cousins of the Wisdoms at Judson that's playing, I think, at Montana State. Mm-hmm. And they had a really good secondary when we had them a couple years ago.
All right, Chris, let's hear from Bobby real quick before we get on out of here.
What did you learn about the team, and what did film show you?
Well, we knew we had an excellent opponent week 1, and we wanted it to be that way. We felt like we needed to be tested early, and we certainly were. Davenport's a great football team. What we learned is that when we play together and we play team, offense and defense and special teams, we can be a pretty good football team. And so we just got to clean up some mistakes that we made last week and perform better this week.
You guys are no secret to TNL. How special is that you get once again to showcase the talents of what Veterans Memorial football is all about on TNL?
It's an exciting opportunity to get to play on TV, and what you guys do and showcasing high school athletics is really awesome. It's not just about the football team. We've got a lot of great programs here with our band and our cheer, and our entire school community is really excited to participate in this thing, and we're looking forward to it.
And finally, it was just like years past, Burbank would be almost one of those guarantees that you could win. They've got an electric quarterback, and obviously this team is a little bit different. So what are a couple of keys to victory that you guys need to be able to do to get a victory this year?
Well, yeah, you're definitely right about that. Coach Mull and his staff have done an excellent job at Burbank High School, and there's certainly no slouch anymore. And we've got to do a good job on offense and defense of reading our keys, blocking our assignments, and executing to have a shot to win the game.
It's going to be a good matchup when we tee off over at Rutledge Stadium, guys.
Looking forward to it.
All right, that's all we got for you today on the Sneakers Cleats podcast. Remember to download, rate, review, subscribe, give us a 5-star rating, tell a friend, tell an enemy. We will be back on Thursday to talk more about the Browns and the winning Dallas Cowboys.
Tom Guerrero says hello.
Hi, Tom.
Shout out Tom Guerrero.
We'll
Tom.
also talk more I-35 showdown between UTSA and Texas State. Until then,
Tom, what
everyone
are you
have a good
doing?
week. What?
What are you doing right now?
I'm reaching for my phone.
Oh, okay, all right.
What? Goodbye.
Okay, it's time to go. Bye-bye.
That looked really